Well, this weekend marks the anniversaries of his birth and death more than 400 years ago. So is the great man still relevant, or is he a relic?
Well, our West Midlands reporter Jack Carson has the latest now from Stratford upon Avon.
Born in 1564, William Shakespeare is part of the definition of British heritage. This weekend marks what would have been the birthday of the man who changed the English language and theatre forever. Nicknamed the Bard by his friends because of his like for writing poems, Shakespeare wrote 38 plays, 2 narrative poems and 154 sonnets. But all of it started in Stratford upon Avon. Now, more than 400 years on, Shakespeare's work has what appears to be an everlasting legacy. Director of Knowledge and Engagement at the Shakespeare Birthplace Trust, Professor Charlotte Scott, says the playwright appealed to human value.
Shakespeare's interested in 2 very central markers of human value. One is power and the other is choice. And power and choice are central to the way his characters navigate their worlds, and those are deeply universal and resonant themes for everybody. He also has, as we know, because of the way in which his words have fallen into the English language, an extraordinary ability to touch on human emotion, on thought, and on the processes of both life and death in ways that are powerfully evocative and effective.
To be or not to be, that is the question. And while Shakespeare himself might be confined to history, his work still lives on in the language we speak today. What's done is done, cruel to be kind, and too much of a good thing are all phrases we still use. But even though our English is full of the Bard's creations, should Shakespeare still be taught in schools? Journalist and author Rebecca Reid says the curriculum should be diversified.
Part of the argument for teaching less Shakespeare is always that we want to diversify the canon of literature that people are taught. And there are plenty of brilliant writers who are not male, not white, and not straight, all of those things. And it's really important that we're able to read literature that was written by people who are different from us, but it's also really helpful to read literature that's written by people like us. So I've always particularly enjoyed the Brontes. I really connect with the idea of being a female writer as a female writer. It just feels wrong that in a society where we have a very, obviously 50-50 gender split, and then also we have a multi-religious, multi-ethnic society, it seems wrong that the curriculum doesn't reflect that at all.
On the streets of Stratford, what do locals and tourists think?
Back in Australia, in Sydney, I'm studying Shakespeare. I'm in my last year of school at the moment. Just the way he changed the language and English language and the way we communicate is really, really special. And for education surrounding that, I think that's important to continue in the future.
There's something quite poetic about it. I certainly learnt about him in school and learnt to appreciate him.
He taught loads of slang back in the day, and I love that now we've got so many of our words from him. So I think we should learn about that and see how language has progressed.
From the skull-grasping Hamlet to the ruthless Lady Macbeth, the imprint of Shakespeare on our heritage shows no sign of fading. All the world's a stage, and there he continues to stand. Jack Carson, GB News, Stratford.